On today's episode of Empowering Women in Real Estate, the podcast, we're going to be talking about the comparison trap and how it pulls you off track.
Hi, I'm Karen Cooper, a wife, mom of three, real estate broker, team owner, and founder of Empowering Women in Real Estate. As a realtor, I've personally helped well over 700 families in my career, and now I help thousands of women from all across the country balance real life and real estate through daily inspiration, motivation, and actionable plans to increase their success. Listen in as I share stories and tips from my life and business and interview some of my favorite people.
Hi there. I'm glad you're here for today's episode. I want you to picture this. Imagine this, and this will probably be very easy for you to picture. It's, maybe it's first thing in the morning and you're sitting down with your cup of coffee, or you're, taking a little break in the afternoon, or maybe it's evening and you're finally just sitting down after a long day and you decide to scroll your phone just a little bit, right? We all kind of enjoy that little scroll, and you open your app. It could be Instagram, it could be Facebook, and you see a post. And it's an agent. Maybe it's an agent that you know. Maybe it's somebody who's in your office, or maybe it's somebody who's in your market. And they're talking about an award they just won. They're talking about how many new listings they just signed. They're talking about the production that they had. They're talking about some new opportunity, new marketing something, or maybe they're just sharing their latest listing. And you get this little feeling. Do you know the feeling I'm talking about? It's this kind of feeling like down in your belly, and it overtakes you. It's like that feeling of, I'm not good enough. I'm not doing enough. My numbers aren't that high. I haven't signed that many listings this year. I didn't get any awards this season. I don't have any new listings that look like that, or, my marketing videos don't look like that, or whatever it is. And we compare. And we compare ourselves, what we do, what our businesses look like, with what this person is doing. And it makes you feel bad. It makes you feel bad. It might make you think you're not good enough, you're not doing enough. And that is like the start of that comparison trap. What used to be, or what could be, a few minutes of the fun little dopamine hit when you're scrolling Instagram or Facebook, and you're seeing the funny cat videos, or, your friend just got a puppy, or somebody just had a baby. It goes from what used to be like a fun connection experience to now it's it's nonstop in your face proof that you're not doing enough. Or that's how we take it. It's actually not proof that we're not doing enough. You're doing just fine. You're doing plenty. But it's proof to our psyche, to the part of us that, and we all have this part of us, I have this, I struggle with this. There's a part of us that doesn't think we do enough, that doesn't think we're good enough, that doesn't think we're worthy enough, that doesn't think we're smart enough, that doesn't, the number of times I have conversations like that with women, it's practically nonstop. And so there's this little part of us, there's this little piece inside of us that kind of thinks that already. And so when we see someone else succeeding, and we might be happy for them, but still, it's like it irritates that part of us that doesn't feel like we're good enough. And then we fall in the comparison trap. And, what happens there is there's two things that I have found. And I have found this with agents of all manner of ages and experience levels and production levels. There is the immediate noise, right? The immediate disruption. You open the app maybe you open the app because you need to go message somebody, or you want to do a post yourself. And now suddenly, because you've seen this, it's taking you completely off track, and you're it's a disruption. It's designed to be a disruption. And now you're trying to go do something else. Well, wait a minute. Let me go record something really quick. Or, oh, maybe I need to try this instead, or maybe I should do this. There's that immediate disruption that happens. But here's the other thing, is that the comparison will slowly erode your confidence. And you may not realize it the first time it happens, or the second, or the 10th, or the 50th, but it's that constant poking at the part of you that doesn't think you're doing enough, and doesn't think you're good enough, and doesn't think you're smart enough. There's been lots of scientific studies about this. There's a groove in your brain, right? And so it's like, that's the familiar path. And so you can get down that path a lot faster next time, and a lot faster the next time, and a lot faster the next time. And so it starts slowly eroding your confidence in yourself, and your confidence in your business. And, I have found this to be especially bad for experienced agents. It's especially bad because you've already built something that's good. So because you already built something that's good, these disruptions are actually really costly to you. They're actually really costly. And so what ends up happening a lot of times when this stuff happens, and we start comparing ourselves, and we start seeing what all of these other people are doing online, it causes a loss of focus. We stop focusing on what's important. We stop focusing on our plan. We stop focusing on our goal. We stop focusing on, our systems, because somehow we think that what this other person is posting, that from this one post, or, maybe it's 2 posts or 3 posts or whatever, theirs must be better. Theirs must be better. And the truth is, we're not seeing everything. We're not seeing the behind the scenes. We're not seeing what went into it. We're not seeing what their gifts are. We're not seeing all of the details. And we're basing that comparison on just a tiny snippet, like a 6-second reel, or and they say the shorter the better. So it's like, on just a tiny little thing, and it causes a loss of focus. The other thing that I see that happens a lot is, I've done this. You see something that somebody else is doing. You see maybe some results that they've gotten. And you suddenly now think that you need to start adding strategies in your business. And you need to change what you're doing, or you need to add one more thing, or you need to, and listen, we talk about it a lot here. All about change, all about being open, all about evolving, all about shifting. But there's a difference between shifting your business into a direction that makes sense for you, making some changes that go along with the trajectory of your business, and making a change, or adjusting a strategy, or adjusting a system because you saw what somebody else did. Those are 2 completely different things. And if you are rearranging your business model, if you are adding strategies, if you are revamping systems based solely on what you see someone else promoting or posting on social media, that is almost always a path to failure. There's this there's this meme. Is swimming part of the Winter Olympics? I always get confused. Or no, maybe swimming is the Summer Olympics. Many, many years ago. And I used to have this printed out, and I had it hanging on my bulletin board. Many years ago, remember when Michael Phelps, he won all of these races, right? All of these swimming races. I don't even remember. He probably still holds world record, Olympic records. I don't know what. And there's this picture. And this was maybe his last Olympics. I don't even remember. But there's this picture of him and the other swimmer from, I don't remember where, who was actually, somebody who could give him a run for his money, right? This other person was really projected to potentially be the person who could, overtake Michael Phelps and win this particular race. And in the picture that you see Michael Phelps swimming, fully focused forward, doing his thing. And what you see in the lane next to him, just behind him, is this other swimmer. And he's not facing forward. He's looking at Michael Phelps. And guess what? That guy didn't win. Michael Phelps won. And that is such a perfect example of comparison. When you're spending more time watching someone else and what they're doing and using that as your metric for success, you're going to move slower. You're not going to have as much success. It's going to be harder. You have to stay focused on you and your own lane. Yes, we learn from other people. Yes, we get inspired from other people. There are some accounts that I enjoy following that are purely for inspiration, and I get great ideas. But there's others that for whatever reason, and I don't know, and it's hard to pinpoint sometimes why certain ones do this. And I know as I'm describing this, you are probably right now thinking of a couple of accounts of a couple of people that you follow that you kind of get this feeling from, right? And I don't know what it is and why there's these certain ones that, kind of trigger me a little bit. And you have to learn to recognize when you are spending more time comparing and looking at other people. I mean, it takes you off your game and it distracts you from what you're trying to do in your business. And it steals from you. It makes your business harder than it needs to be, first of all. But it also steals from you. It steals your focus. It steals your time. It steals your energy. It steals your confidence. It steals your positive mindset. And we don't need any more help. We don't need any more help stealing our positive mindset. So, a couple ways to recognize when you are, kind of falling into this comparison trap is one, it's kind of where we started the episode today. It's that feeling you get, when you know what I'm talking about. I recognize it immediately when I open the app or I scroll to a post and there is like an immediate visceral reaction that I feel. And when that happens, that is a sign that there is something that's there. There is something about it that is just not good for me. Doesn't mean that person's not good. Doesn't mean I'm not happy for what they're doing. Doesn't mean that their post wasn't a good post. It's just for whatever reason, with where I'm at right now, that is not working for me. If you're listening to this and thinking, I know what I should be doing, I just need a clear plan and follow through, I want to tell you about the Empowering Women in Real Estate Inner Circle. This is not a mindset membership. It's tactical. Inside the Inner Circle, I teach my exact real estate systems, the same ones my team and I have used for more than a decade to build consistent referral-based businesses. We cover how to generate business through your database, geographic farming, social media, and relationship-based prospecting, right down to the templates, scripts, and workflows. Every week, you get a plan of the week that tells you exactly what to do step by step, so you're never guessing what matters most. You also get access to the high-level monthly trainings I do for my real estate team, a dedicated monthly mastermind, quarterly business reviews, and annual business planning. If you're done piecing things together and want a proven system you can actually follow, the Inner Circle was built for you. You can learn more at empoweringwomeninrealestate.com, click on Inner Circle, and when you use promo code first month free, you'll get your first month of the program on me. The other thing is, if you see a post, if you see a whatever, and you get that sudden urge to rearrange your entire business, that is a sign. Like, that is the sign that you are looking at the wrong things. Because I promise you don't need to rearrange your whole business. If your business is not where you want it to be, you probably just need, there was something I heard on a podcast one time. You may just need like a tiny little tweak, like a tiny, tiny little tweak could give you a 30% improvement in your business. Like there's a lot of statistics actually on that. And if you try to just overhaul everything and just upend everything and start all over, well, you're going to lose time and you're going to lose momentum. It's the tiny tweaks that we make that actually help us to get where we're going. And part of that is understanding who we are and understanding what our goals are and understanding where we're going, not where someone else is going, not what someone else's goals are, not what someone else's win is. Like, none of those things take anything away from who we are. None of those things take anything away from our business. It's like a scarcity mindset, right? There is an unlimited number of followers that are available. And so just because this person has this many, that does not take away from yours or how many you could have, right? Just because this person has this many sales does not take away from how many you can have, right? Because there's plenty, there's enough. And the minute you start looking at what somebody else is doing or what someone else is doing and start worrying or thinking that it's going to limit what you can do, that's another sign for you that you are looking at the wrong things and you are comparing the wrong things. So when you find yourself in this place where it's eroding your confidence, you're feeling the feels about the different posts, or you are trying to revamp your whole business based on something that you saw that somebody did on TikTok, then you need to get yourself back on track. And it's hard. I know it's hard. Our industry, our business is so noisy. But you know what? I heard this at a training that we did with our team last month. We are all grown-ups and we get to control the noise. Opening these apps, scrolling them, these are not things that are required for us to do. No one's forcing us to do it. We get to control that. We get to control the accounts that we follow. We get to control what we look at. We even get to control the algorithm, because the algorithm feeds you more. And I mean, you can see this on any app. The fastest way to tell it is to look, is to see what's happening, is to look on your search, like what is it on Instagram? It's a Discover, I think, something like that. I forget what it's called. I used to look at it a lot. I never look at it. I shouldn't say never. I very rarely look at it anymore. But you can tell, it's almost a real time change. Like if I look at a particular post and then I keep scrolling, then I start to slowly see more and more posts that are like that post, right? And it's the same thing. So you get to control that, actually. So how can you control that? You can control that by only looking at certain things, only looking at cat videos, only looking at positive things. Maybe you do some searches within the apps for things that, make you feel good, that bring back that kind of happiness factor and that fun factor to social media, which I feel like we have really lost. That can actually cause your algorithm to change, to completely overhaul. And that can shift what it's feeding you and what you're seeing. So, when you need to get on track, there's a couple of different things. One of them is you really need to recenter yourself. You need to get back to you, right? Not focusing on what someone else is doing, focusing on what you are doing. And this is easier the more clear you are on who you are and what you want from your business. And I can say that to you very clearly because I have done a lot of work to figure this out, because there are times where I have struggled with this a lot more than I do now. And when I struggled with it more, it's because I wasn't as clear. I wasn't as clear and comfortable with who I am, what I want, what I'm doing, what my focus is, what my purpose is. The more clear you get on that, the more clear you are on who you are, then the easier it is to kind of tune that other stuff out. So that's the number one thing, is recentering yourself and getting clear on you, getting clear on what you want, getting clear on what you want your business to look like. Sure, it's amazing, right? So that agent that sold, 100 houses, I'm sure they made a ton of money, but they also probably worked themselves to death. And they probably missed a lot of their kids' games, and they probably weren't volunteering in the classroom. And they probably, to run a business of that scale, you probably got to hire people. You're going to have a lot of expenses. Maybe they barely spent time at home or with their family or took vacations, or when they did take vacations, they were on their computer or on their phone the whole time. So there's trade-offs. And I'm not saying that was bad. That was their choice or what they did, but that's not for me. And so get clear on what you want for you. Know what a win is for you. When you see other people sharing their wins, It's easier to clap for them and it's easier to celebrate them without feeling bad or without feeling less than when you are clear on what a win is for you. Their win does not take away from your win. Their win is not better than your win. For me, a win is being able to take my time in the morning, being able to have my long, slow, luxurious morning. To write, I love to write in our Empowering Women in Real Estate group on Facebook. I've done it, 5 to 7 times a week, literally for almost 12 years. I am doing my Read the Bible devotional this year where I'm reading through. I want time for that. I want time to sip my coffee slowly. I want time to read whatever book it is that I am reading right now. I want time to take a walk. I want time to sit down at the table and eat breakfast instead of grab a package of something and eat it in the car. I want that. And so I'm not willing to trade. I don't want to sell 100 houses if it means I can't do that. Do you see what I mean? So to me, the person who sold 100 houses, that's great. I'm happy for them. I hope that that's all that they wanted. But it's not what I want. I'm very clear on what I want. I'm clear on what my win is. And the more clear you can get on that, the better. The second thing is, as I said, we can control our own noise. We are grown-ups. So you need to limit the noise. And a great way to do that is to snooze and to unfollow. And sometimes, these people that we're seeing or, a certain post that maybe triggers us or causes that kind of comparison feeling to kind of bubble up. These are friends, sometimes they're colleagues, they're people that you want to stay connected to. You don't necessarily want to unfollow them. You don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. That can hurt. Maybe I shouldn't care about that, but it can hurt somebody's feelings. And I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. I mean, it's happened to me where people have, said whatever and unfollow. It's fine. But, I don't want to do that. And so what I would rather do is snooze. Or, on Facebook, it's very easy to do. There is, if you right click on somebody's profile, or you might even be able to do it on right on their post, it gives you the option to snooze them for 30 days. And they won't show up in your feed for 30 days. And so if you're feeling that way, you can do that. You stay friends, but you're just not going to see their stuff in your feed. And same thing on Instagram. There's a way to do it on a profile from Instagram. So if you're on Instagram and you're looking at somebody's profile and there's that little button where it says, you're following. And when you follow somebody, there's like a little drop down. So if you tap it, it opens up other options. And it actually gives you the ability to, you continue following them, but you won't see their posts, you won't see their stories. Like you get to pick what things you want to see or not see. And so I do wish that they gave you the snooze option on Instagram, because once you do that, like they're not going to just show up in your feed again unless you go look for them and turn the setting off. But that is a way to do that. I have this conversation. I have a friend I have this conversation with all the time. The minute I see a post that starts to cause that little something to kind of, bubble up inside or come to the surface, I immediately either snooze or unfollow or do whatever it is I need to do. So I don't see it anymore because my peace is not worth it. And, if I'm going to open this app, which is a necessary part of our business, and I do enjoy connecting on it. Like, I've been out of high school I'm going to be 53 this year, so I don't even know how many years it is. It's a very long time. And it's like more than 30. Is that 35 years? I think it is 35. I think it is 35 years. It's a really long time. But I'm able to be friends and connected. One of my friends, we were great friends in middle school and we were friends through high school. And now she lives in France. And I would otherwise never see her or connect with her, but we get to connect through Facebook. And, I have people that I used to work with that when I was in my early 20s who I loved working with them. And now one of them lives in Colorado and one of them lives in Illinois, Michigan. Otherwise, I would never see them. We would have no connection, no contact, but I'm able to connect with them through Facebook. That's what we want social media for, is that social aspect. And so let's get back to that a little bit. And one of the ways to get back to that is eliminating some of this comparison. And, yes, another way to do it is to work on whatever that is in us that allows us to feel unworthy when we see something that somebody else is doing. That would be the gold star. The gold star would be to work that out with yourself. But it takes time. It really does. It really does take time to work that out. And so if that means that now you need to unfollow some people, you need to snooze some people, then that's what it takes. That's what you need to do. So those are my thoughts. That's what I have for you today. Avoid that comparison trap. There's nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with your business. You are if you are happy as a clam doing 3 to 5 transactions a year, your business is just as valid. You are just as worthy as the agent who's doing 50 or 100. It is not, I know the world wants us to think it's a competition. Our brokerages want us to think it's a competition. The industry wants us to think it's a competition, but it's not a competition. Your path is your path. My path is my path. Her path is her path. Stay focused on yours. Stop looking, behind, sideways, wherever, and allowing that to impact where you're going and how fast it's going to take you to get there. So until next time, stay well.
Thank you for listening to Empowering Women in Real Estate, the podcast. Click subscribe to be notified every Wednesday when our latest episode is released, and be sure to check out our group on Facebook.